Now this role, of course, because we often see you as sort of more rural types or military types.
Right.
This is not that guy. This is
No.
sort of the opposite.
Yeah,
It's nice
very
to see
different.
because it's nice to see you sort of break out in this kind of thing. Talk about that. It's funny because Spacey has so much energy, and you have even more. So talk about balancing the energy between the two of you.
Well, we just stuck to our characters, what, they were as we researched them. This is factual reporting. There wasn't really much you had to create. There's, a mountain of books on these guys and tremendous information available. So, we just followed the blueprint. But Kevin, he is absolutely enthusiastic and passionate in his creation of his of everything he does, and it's. It was amazing working with him. I mean, it's like going to film school every day. It was a real pleasure working with him.
Did you go and meet this guy, the evil elf?
No, he kind of disappeared.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, after he went to the FBI and turned in Jack before Jack could turn him in, he kind of disappeared from Washington politics in general.
Do you wonder? I mean, I wonder about guys. Do you think these people are sociopaths? I mean, what is it? Do you think they have a? I don't know. You can only guess from the outside, but you obviously researched them closely at these types.
I don't know. I try not to judge the character, but just it is. I think a pretty common theme in Washington. I think that people are attracted to that town like moths to the flame. If that's part of their character, I think it's gonna flourish there. And so I think that's just who they were, and at that time, and when the GOP had control of the House, and guys like Grover Norquist and Tom DeLay and Newt Gingrich sort of put in motion this K Street project, which just created this sort of bordello of greed on K Street, between K Street and the House, and they really just, guys like Jack and Mike just flourished. It was just I think an opportunity for their true natures to come out.
Yeah, it's funny because following in the news, it never occurred to me this could be anything but a comedy. But after seeing it as a comedy, I think you could actually do it as a straight story too. But
Sure. I think originally it started out that way.
Do you see? Because when I read it in the news, I'm like laughing the whole time when I follow this kind of story.
Yeah.
I mean, are you the same way, or are you more like despondent over this state of Washington and that kind of thing?
Well,
is it funny and sad, or is it just plain funny?
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard. It's difficult to. It's difficult to see it as anything other than sad because of the millions of people that are affected by this avarice and greed and corruption that has just permeated our democracy. I think the majority of people in America see their democracy drowning under this kind of mountain, a tsunami of money and fundraising and lobbying. It's a sickness, and I think unless there's true reformation, I don't think that we really have a true democracy anymore. I mean, how can you disconnect freedom and material equality? How could you have true representation as an individual if you don't have $100 million to run a campaign for one of these elected positions? So I think the foundation of our democracy has vanished in so many ways that, these stories are kind of a humorous sort of glimpse into one of these many scandals that continue to take place in Washington. But I think after a while you get, I think so, it's such a steady incompetence that takes place in Washington that I think we just get used to it, and we do laugh about it, and we do sort of find it all humorous. But man, I think now, where we are economically, it's sort of hard to laugh at it now. I think, this is an opportunity to sort of exercise your First Amendment right of holding your elected officials' feet to the fire and saying, look, we want real hope and change. We don't want just empty rhetorical slogans. We want serious reformation. And I think it really does begin with the lobbying and the fundraising, and then beyond that, taking control of the Federal Reserve, putting it back in the hands of the Congress as opposed to privatized banks. But I don't see any of that really happening. I think they tried to, after this scandal broke, and everyone ran like cockroaches into the darkness, denying any knowledge of Jack Abramoff or any friendship with him. Even the president, was cutting himself out of photographs with Jack. They tried to reform the Lobbying Act, but it was just sort of a toothless measure. It's actually worse now than it ever was. So, maybe in another 5 years we'll have another story like this to tell.
No, that's funny. I just had the same conversation. I talked with a guy who did a documentary on gerrymandering. You have a 90% reelected rate and like a 22% approval rate.
Yeah.
These people, they're not. The voters don't want them.
No.
They get in. It's drawing the lines, and then corporate-owned media.
That's right. Yeah.
Serious erosion. It's like, when do you stop calling it democracy?
Yeah, it's sad, but I think that's our job, and I think that's our right as artists to exercise our dissension through our voice in art like this, and I think it is great that you can laugh at it, sort of you see the humor and the hypocrisy there, but also maybe it'll infuse people with an energy to get out and get involved and do something about it.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, pleasure.
Congrats on a really good picture.
Oh, thanks.